I can talk about why Americans are being so subdued and submissive and not like other countries, like physically rising up to the government right now. And it's because this is our first American dictatorship and we don't quite know what to do about it. I'm Daniella, scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book about growing up in the Children of God religious cult, mostly in Brazil, and then going into the cult of the U.S. Army. You can get signed copies attached here or listen to me read it to you on audio. So I did a very interesting interview with a UCLA professor of the Brazilian military dictatorship, Dr. Brian Pitts, and that will be released this week on my Cults and the Culting of America podcast. And one of the really interesting things he said was that the Brazilians have had dictatorships before, right? So Brazilians had a pretty failed monarchy. I think they're one of the only Latin American countries that tried the monarchy thing. And it's really funny. It was the first city I lived in Brazil. The first city I lived in Brazil is called Petrópolis, which is where the king built himself a city and a castle on a mountain. And then on a completely separate mountain, he built Teresópolis for his wife, Teresa. And I feel like that is just the height of passion aggression, is putting your wife on an entirely different mountain than you. So anyway, so the Brazilians had a dictatorship in the 1930s, the Vargas dictatorship, right? So in the 1960s, when our lovely CIA-backed sort of dictatorship happened, the Brazilians had the memory of that. And in the 2000s, the 2020s, I should say, when Jair Bolsonaro tried to get a little dictatory, a little fashy, Brazilians were like, F no. And they immediately responded. So they knew how bad it could be, and they knew what to do. And those two things are very important. When on January 8th, 2022, I believe, Brazilians stormed their capital, which was not in session, everyone was arrested that day. And now Jair Bolsonaro, the president, is going to jail. So this is part of it. It's that Americans, especially white Americans, do not know how to organize and push back against the government because this is our first dictatorship. I hope we figure it out.